Here we go again then, one of our favourites here at Special Stage. Once again, crews from the UK and Ireland descending on the Isle of Man for the Master Pixel Media Manx National Rally. A challenging two-day event over some iconic stages. Before the action got underway, there was time for one of the visiting crews, the Legend Fires rally team, to visit a local school and let the children take a look around the fantastic Fiesta WRC before it hits the stages. Great to bring rallying to a new generation of potential rally fans, marshals and competitors here on the island. The Manx National once again will be split into two sections, the National Rally and the Chris Kelly Memorial Rally, and we're going to take a look at each of those throughout this coverage. Jason Pritchard then leads the crews away in the National Rally, a formidable competitor here, no stranger to a good result on the island, and he will be followed by a number of previous winners and champions, all looking to take victory this weekend on these famous lanes. Let's head out onto those lanes then for the first day of action, and the stages start in the daylight before a second loop sees the crews take on the dark. And as predicted, it will be the lead for Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark at the end of the day. Clearly, they've been eating their carrots. They reached the overnight service with a comfortable lead of 1 minute 40 seconds.
Jason Pritchard leading by over, a minute and a half?
I have no idea now how it was earlier on, but I don't know what happened at the start of that stage. The car just cut out for no reason. But
how much did you lose?
Not really lost any time. It's more concentration because you're just wondering what the hell's going on and waiting for it to happen again. But we got through there in the end, and I think it was an okay run again.
Winners of last year's Poker Stars rally, Jamie Dukes and James Morgan, would start the event well this weekend. They were making changes to the setup as they went along, trying new things in the continued development of this car. And they end the day second overall. Those setup changes clearly doing the business.
How's it going? How's your day been? Jason's on it.
We're enjoying it, Howard. It's it's good, fair play. The car's very good. We made a lot of changes throughout the night, and it's really coming together. Nice to get back down to Baldwins, to be honest.
The local crews are always ones to watch here, and the fastest of the locals at this stage were Andrew Dudgeon and Joe Dooley. They were getting everything they could out of that older spec car, pushing it so hard, and it was paying off. Third overall at the end of the day.
It's going all right today. I think we're up to third. It's hard work down there, absolutely roasting in here, but we're definitely trying, pushing on.
The eagle-eyed ones among you may have noticed that we were missing previous Manx champions Dan Harper and Chris Campbell from the leaderboard. They were nursing some damage on the side of the Mini, eventually calling it a day, having to super rally for day 2. And after that inspirational start to the weekend, we lose John Stone and Jack Morton, the turbo braking on stage 6 of the rally. Such a shame after the pair were looking visibly quick over the stages this evening in that Fiesta. We continue with the leaderboard then, and one of the names mixing up the results would be Erin Mclaughlin and Darren Curran. This would be their first time out on the stages in the dark, and they were clearly pedalling that Hyundai well. 4th place for now. It was a good, clean run so far for Alan Kirkcaldy and Cameron Fair. They were getting used to the car, building confidence rally by rally. 5th place was theirs, just 12 seconds back from the Hyundai up ahead. Hugh Hunter and Rob Fagg, though, were having a trouble-filled day. Power steering problems, brake problems, the list goes on. They'd been off a couple of times and even managed to turn the lights off at Sartfield Hairpin. But once things were running smoothly, the times were looking good. That leaderboard coming back to them, they end the day with 6th place overall. It would be a big push needed to try and get closer to the podium on day 2.
And flat right into easy left, caution medium right, medium left plus.
Problems too for another favourite crew here, Damien Cole and Max Freeman. A clutch issue was affecting the launch control. It would be fine when it was moving, but they'd have to take a less aggressive approach to the stage starts, which would of course chip away at any advance up the leaderboard. 7th place for the pair next. Wayne Sisson and Neil Shanks, meanwhile, didn't feel that they were running 100% all of the time through the evening stages, and you need to be on it here. A little scrappy in places, and it was all contributing to them ending the day with 8th. Although with only a fraction of a second between them and Cole, it would all be to play for on day 2 of the competition. Apart from one bank jumping out in front of the Evo, their quote, not mine, everything else was going okay for Stu Bainborough and Paula Swinsko. Okay being the operative word, certainly not perfect. A few small issues throughout the evening, but at the end of the day, within the top 10, and that is a good start here on the Isle of Man. And rounding out the top 10, also having a good start with Darren Atkinson and Phil Sandon. They returned to the stages this season after a number of years away, and clearly it was going very well, leading Class D and in 10th place overall. Behind Atkinson in the class and overall leaderboards would be George and Graham Collister, the BMW pair having a good time out there on the stages and taking second in the class, 24 seconds back from Atkinson. Meanwhile, for Mark Jasper and Don Wyatt, it would be third in the class. They were struggling to get on terms with their competitors and the rhythm was lacking a little. A wrong tyre choice not really helping them. They do lie a little way back from our class leaders at this stage, but we've seen big things from this pair in the past and we'll be looking for more of that on day 2. Class C was set to see some giant killing this weekend, and you could almost say the C stood for crazy with the pace of these guys. Rory and Paul McCann end the day with the lead in that class in that well-pedalled and seriously underpowered Civic, the pair also lying in 12th place overall. Behind that angry little Civic in the class were Dale Furness and Sean Williams. Dale, of course, more used to being in the co-driver's seat, but showing himself to be pretty good behind the wheel as well. Road rally experience paying off through the night stages. They take second place in the class, 16th overall in the lanes for now. And third in that class would be Martin Jones and Dave Radcliffe. Another crazy pair. They were having a little problem with the brakes, although with the way that Martin drives, it makes you wonder how he even realised. 20th overall for now. In Class B, it will be the lead for Ridian Daniels and Thomas Whittle, clearly trying very hard in that C1 Max, and it was paying off as well, just over a minute's lead at the end of day 1. Behind Daniels on the class results would be Lee Mclaughlin and Emmett Kelly, their first time out in the dark and loving it in that Civic. And for Richard Hill and Perida Davies, it would be third in that class. A little bigger the gap back to this position, but still going well on the overall leaderboard in 24th. Just the one crew here to do battle for Class A honours, the Nova of William Mains and Claire Williams. They may not have had anyone to do battle with though in the class, but they were pushing on for those overall times. There'd also be a handful of historic crews out this weekend over the various classes. And in the lead of the H1 class at this stage were Desi Nutt and Geraldine McBride, the Porsche pair going well through the night. For Martin Freeston and James Luton, meanwhile, it will be the H2 class lead, 35th overall on the leaderboard in that Escort. And taking the charge in the H3 class were Martin Doherty and Kevin Flanagan in this immaculate-looking RS 1800. The pair having fun on the stages, looking iconic out there, and clearly going well to lead the class from 14th overall. It's a strong start. Another car which looks so iconic in these lanes is the classic Mini. And this weekend there would be a Mini class. Leading the way there would be Richard Ford and Neil MacDonald, 46th overall, a minute's advantage in that Mini battle. That lead over Martin Melling and Lewis Griffiths. There was still some time to be made up, but they had 8 more stages in order to try for that class lead. So day 1 is complete here at the Master Pixel Media Manx National Rally. The leaderboard at the top is looking like this. Here we are then for those who have survived day 1. It's the second day of the competition here at the Manx National Rally. Let's take a look at those class and overall results. And there'd be no change for Martin Melling and Lewis Griffiths in the mini class. They couldn't overhaul our class leaders and would have to settle for second this weekend. And that, of course, means that it's victory in the class for Richard Ford and Neil MacDonald. Pedaling that Mini hard, they take the victory by a comfortable margin by the end of the rally. On to H3, and there'd be no change for Martin Doherty and Kevin Flanagan. They take the win, ending the rally as the highest placed historic crew as well in 13th overall, and that is good going. For Martin Freeston and James Luton, it will be the H2 class win. Things have gone to plan for the escort pair. They take 28th on the leaderboard. And for Desi Nutt and Geraldine McBride, it would be the H1 victory. In that distinctive yellow Porsche, they end the rally with 32nd place overall. With nobody in the class to battle with, you could be forgiven for thinking that William Mains and Claire Williams might back off a little. But that wasn't to be the case, even getting the car right up on two wheels at one point in their bid for overall leaderboard positions. That, of course, means they take the class victory this weekend, but they also finish in 29th overall for their efforts. In Class B, it will be third at the end of the rally for Malcolm Davey and Paul Slingsby. A good, strong and clean event for the escort pair in 27th overall. Just ahead of them in the class were Richard Hill and Perida Davies. A few positions higher up on the overall leaderboard, but second in the class was theirs this weekend. And taking that class win would be Lee Mclaughlin and Emmett Kelly in the Civic. A good, strong advantage in the class by the end of the rally, up in 17th overall. And there'd be frustration in Class C after a great run for Rory and Paul McCann. Engine problems that started at the end of the last stage on day one would catch up with them, following them into day two and meaning an early event finish. So it would be all change in that class then. We see William Hill and Richard Crozier stepping up and taking advantage of our class leader retirement to take third in the class by the end of the rally. No change for that second place. Dale Furness and Sean Williams remaining consistent, keeping that pace up. And while the changes were going on around them, they held firm, ending the rally with second in the class, 16th overall. And if you've been doing your maths, you'll know that that means for Martin Jones and Dave Radcliffe, it would be the Class C victory. Clearly, the pair were trying right to the finish. The car, as ever, looking like a bit of a handful to control, but Martin keeping it pointing mostly in the right direction, taking a 42nd advantage in the class, 15th overall. There'd also be change in Class D over the second day of the rally. Chris Wheeler and Sean Leyland having a good run to end the day with third in the class as well as 21st overall. George and Graham Collister would be second. They were a little way off our class leaders, but going well nonetheless, ending the rally just outside the top 10 overall with 12th. The attrition, though, would not be over. We lose David Hardy and John McCulloch when they roll the car on stage 15, so close to the end of the rally. The pair had started to get used to the car as well and were putting in some good times. We move on to our Manx National Top 10 then, and it would be Stu Bainborough and Paula Swinsko taking that 10th place at the finish. It hadn't been straightforward, in fact anything but they had made it to the end, something that was always welcomed in that Evo 6. For Wayne Sisson and Neil Shanks, it would be 9th overall. The Evo pair disappointed with that finish and probably looking back, knowing where some of the time had gone. But they do get to the end of the rally. Some good times on the board, some good pace and a good finish. Meanwhile, it had been a great weekend for Darren Atkinson and Phil Sandham. Right there in the fight. They end the rally with the Class D victory and a fantastic 8th place overall. Fastest indeed of our two-wheel drive crews on the overall leaderboard. They'd been trying so hard, as this overshoot on stage 12 shows. They end up quite a way up the escape road, losing a handful of seconds, getting things pointed in the right direction again. And once again, victory on the Manx National Rally would elude Damien Cole and Max Freeman. The focused WRC driver just doesn't seem to have a good record here. One of the few rallies he hasn't managed to tame. For this year, there will be no conquering these Manx lanes. It will be 7th overall. That attempt to get victory here in the Isle of Man would have to wait for another year. It had been a great weekend, though, for Aaron Mclaughlin and Darren Curran. 6th place would be theirs at the finish, a new name in the mix at the top of the Manx National results, and they were showing that they had potential for a podium finish on their return to these stages, assuming that they now, as people usually do, had the bug to return to the Isle of Man. Things had gone to plan, meanwhile, for Alan Kirkcaldy and Cameron Fair. 5th place overall at the end of the rally. Some good times in that Fiesta R5, and they were really getting to grips with it now. They'd hopefully be looking for those podium positions on these famous stages before too long.
Square right. And left 1 over forward. Square right, don't cut. Into left 5, right 4, 40. Left 5 and...
After those problems on the first day of the competition, damage limitation had been the name of the game for Hugh Hunter and Rob Fack. They did the best that they could after those problems, and the times when things were going well would have seen them fighting at the top of our leaderboard. For this year, though, it wasn't to be, the pair settling for 4th place at the end of a tough weekend. We move on then to those all-important podium positions, and there wouldn't be much change. Andrew Dudgeon, Joe Dooley managing to hold off any advance from behind to take that final step on the podium this weekend with 3rd. Despite having designs on catching our rally leaders, the pace just wasn't there for Jamie Jukes and James Morgan. They didn't really think that they could do any more and settle for that 2nd place. Happy in the knowledge that they were the best of the rest and showed that they did have the pace at least to be fighting at the top of the results once again here on the Isle of Man. But taking a convincing victory this weekend were Jason Pritchard and Phil Clark. Another win to add to the collection. Perhaps for next year's event they could bring the historic escort and level the playing field a little. So confirmation then of the final results here at the end of the Master Pixel Media Manx National Rally 2019. An iconic event on famous stages that has once again delivered. Next up, a roundup of all the action from the Chris Kelly Memorial Rally here on the Isle of Man.
Jason Pritchard, congratulations on a fantastic win here, taking it to win number 5, I think. Fantastic result.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's been a faultless weekend, really. Just a launch issue this morning on the one stage, and then a mistake by me, a stall and overshoot. But apart from that, cars run brilliantly. Few mistakes with the tyre choices, but it's the Isle of Man, and today it's glorious. So that's a good day, thanks to the marshals. It's been a brilliant event again.
3 minutes, 14 seconds in it you won by. That's a mountain of time. You could have not done one stage.
Yeah, it's credit to Phil. I think the amount of work he puts in before we even come out here makes the recce a lot easier. We're confident then from the recce onwards, and we can just get that gap and sort of hold it then, and it's a comfort zone we're in.
Yeah, we have to be very pleased, really. The best of the rest here, I think, is probably as much as we can hope for, really. And Howard, if you take this car as a benchmark from the 2017 car that we brought here and took the times off through a marker with someone like Wayne Sisson, then it tells you how far the car's come, really.
And that's ultimately what you want to do. You want to sell these cars, don't you? This is what it's all about.
Yes, really, that's what it's all about, is getting it into a position whereby it's a very, very good package. And I think that's there, isn't it, really?
It is now. It spoke for itself. Reliable, 2nd overall, fantastic result. Well done.
Thank you, Howard.
Now, you're very used to this pit lane. You're normally sitting here on 2 wheels with a helmet on. But this weekend, fantastic. 3rd overall in the Manx National in the Mitsubishi. What a fantastic result for you.
I can't actually believe it. The car's like 21 years old. Come back after a bit of a bad back injury from Macau, so I'm absolutely made up to be able to be on pace in that car, and and with that injury, so yeah, absolutely made up.